He collapsed, right? Last time. Maybe reflects, these intros maybe reflect where he's at in the present of the show. Yeah. Things aren't so good. No, he should be fine. He's got an alias.
Your blood pressure's a little high, but that's understandable under the circumstances.
What circumstances?
Would you mind?
I have a taxi coming.
Like, this isn't engaging with life at all, is it? You know, he can never stick around. He can never really make connections, right? People are going to ask about his past. If that lady's trying to talk to him, it's like, nah, I gotta go, mate, gotta go. It's always like that, right? That's not a life. Every time I see one more of these, it's like, yeah, you get closer and closer and closer to a place where I feel like, at least mentally as a person right now, Jimmy is... timer as this is running out. It's not sustainable.
That's the Pacific Northwest, right?
Oh, she's gonna ask him a question.
Cousin
Yeah.
who moved to Tacoma.
I just moved there, mate. Don't know anything.
Beautiful up there.
No idea.
Yeah,
Not a clue.
It's,
You tell me.
4.
Are you sure?
I've never seen this before.
Is he giving the wrong one?
Oh, wait. Oh my God.
Okay, no, it's fine.
I
feel
typed the
like.
letter O instead of a 0.
Right.
It's going through now.
Beautiful. Leave.
I'm so sorry.
You should be. Giving us all a heart attack, mate. This man's recovering. Disrespectful.
Oh, hold on.
My goodness, lady. Let the man go.
Don't forget this.
Okay. No, fair enough. That's okay. That's my... I'll back off. That's fair enough. You should give him back. You should give him that back. Me looking at everybody in the background. Who's this guy? Oh, this taxi's from Albuquerque. So maybe this guy... He's been like, this guy recognizes me. Uh-oh. We good? Oh dear. Where we stopping, bud? Ask the man a question. Why we stopped here?
It's a green light.
Yeah. Bro.
You know what? I'll just get out here.
I guess, sorry, yeah, his appearance has probably been circulated, right? With Walter's and everybody else's. So if he's from Albuquerque, he's probably seen his face. He absolutely recognizes him, yeah. Tip this man.
Thanks.
Tip him. Okay, move. Immediately move, buddy. This is a longer sequence than we usually get for these, isn't it? Yeah, this is the thing. I keep saying it's not tenable to live like this just as a person, but will he have the choice? Or is he going to get rambled? Hello and welcome to another Better Call Saul Sunday. That's right, the show that happens every single Sunday until we are finished with it. Maybe every single Sunday. Sorry, apologies. We're back. Hello. Yeah, it's good to be back. And this episode is Smoke, brand new season 4, episode 1. So let's see what it holds. By the way, little PSA, these won't be happening every single Sunday. I am just going to introduce these into my rotation of shows. When these episodes are on YouTube, it will be a Sunday, just to let you know. But yeah, probably practically, logistically, going to be more like every other Sunday. They're quite big videos, and something my little break has taught me is that having Sunday, and being blocked every single week and doing essentially an essay style video every single week that is a 40 minute video nowadays, it's quite intense. It has been nice being a little bit freer and not having to do that every single week. After all, it is just me doing everything. Yeah, just to let you know. Apologies to those that's going to disappoint. I know I've just come back and I'm like, by the way, soz. I think that's what burnt me out, right? Like, these videos have got longer and longer and longer as we've gone along, and I can only imagine it's going to stay the same or be even bigger. So yeah, just to kind of deal with that workload in a manageable way, this I feel like is the best thing for me to do going forward. So yeah, no reflection on the show, and honestly not anything to do with why I took the break as to why I'm doing this, but taking the break has showed me how difficult it was to do it every single week, considering how long and how extensive the videos have become. For a long time, my channel was Better Call Saul Sundays, and then other shows kind of in between that. From now on, it will just be more of a balance of all of the shows getting rotated. So Saul is kind of being put more so into that treadmill as opposed to standing apart and being every single Sunday, if that makes sense. So yeah, sorry again, but that is how we're going to move forward with it. With that said, thank you for being here. And Flamingo check. It's good to be back. Here we go. Hey man, maybe you survived. Interesting imagery there, isn't it? Yeah, the smoke, the fire, the ashes, and the consequences of that travelling over and coating Jimmy's life, because it will, and it's absolutely going to influence Jimmy going forward. Beautiful. Yes, absolutely. Start with a coffee, dude. Trust me, you'll be fine. Do double, because you got some bad news coming, mate. Hey, Bobby Boy producing. Good on you, dude. Yeah, new jobs. This is the thing. This is the tragedy of this, is that he is essentially, end of last season, from Jimmy's perspective, it was a reset. He was, again, foundation, almost was prepped. As much as I've been saying and talking about Saul was inevitable, right? Had become inevitable, really, by a certain point last season. Actually, I think what we saw at the end of season 3 was a reset, a foundation that was new going forward. I think could have been, again, this potential to move away from Saul. And I think the thing that's going to shift him back and have this detrimental effect, this deeply emotional effect on him, is going to be Chuck's demise. And I think that's going to switch him back a little bit in ways that, I haven't seen yet. But yeah. And that's part of the tragedy of that. Oh, bless him. Oh, man. Here we go. Okay, no, never mind. Not yet.
I'll trade you.
Oh, I was going to be like, for what? For an arm? Still worth it. Coffee. All the way. Coffee!
Let it go. If it's important, they'll leave a message.
Oh, you're getting a message, son. Don't you worry.
Jimmy, go.
Howard, give him a hug. Oof. God. What a picture, hey? Yeah. Look, this would be a good time to talk about this and what I think about this decision. From a writing perspective, from a story perspective, because I'm mixed, if I'm completely honest. I'm 50-50 either way of liking and not liking it, I think. And I'll explain why. So, why don't I like it? Why do I think it was a bad writing decision to do that? To have him die? I think to a large extent, it feels like the cheaper option, which surprises me, if I'm completely honest, because what I kind of have come to expect with these writers is for them to milk all of these emotional relationships, these emotional moments, these intertwinings of these people and these characters, and to milk the emotional potential out of those relationships to the maximum. And this feels like a little bit of a cutting off of that. On the flip side, though, that could be the point, right? And I'll get to that as well. This is the thing. I think this is a really complex decision for them to have made at this point in the show. I think when you kind of also, when you step out of it for a second and look at it on a larger scale, it's halfway. The end of season 3, we've got 3 more seasons, 6 seasons altogether. For this to happen right in the middle and to almost be the before and after, I think could be very symbolic. And I think that specifically could be very on purpose, right? Before and after Chuck and how that shapes Jimmy. But yeah, what do I mean when I say that I feel like that emotional potential for that relationship and milking that or exploring that was cut off? I think, the way that we saw it, and that's not to say that I wanted them to find a resolution where they got on, that's not what I'm saying at all, but I do feel like the emotional state of the relationship between Jimmy and Chuck by the point of the end of season 3, last episode of season 3, was for large intents and purposes, at least in my opinion, right? Because this is all my opinion. You can disagree. No one's wrong when it comes to this stuff. It is all subjective. But yeah, I think middle last season, chicanery, we got that big episode, and we got 4 episodes after that, where that was the end of the relationship between Jimmy and Chuck, and it felt like there was more to go. More to explore with that. Like I say, it feels like those story threads were cut, right? That intertwining was cut. It's hard, isn't it? Because this is all going to sound quite vague, because I don't know what I imagined. But for me, with chicanery, everything was left up in the air. They went their separate ways, and they both made progress individually. And I know we got that meeting at the end of the finale with them, and it was very harsh, and Chuck was very harsh because of everything that was happening with him. It also felt like there was meat between him and Howard, and HHM and everything, and things being set up between them two and whatever else. It just felt like there was a lot more to explore between Chuck and Howard's relationship as well, right? And I don't know, for me, it just felt like his arc and his intertwining of his arc with these characters, Howard and Jimmy mainly, was incomplete. And it felt like there was more to me. And by doing this, it just feels like it was too early. Now, was that the point? Because I think there's a fair argument to be made that is the point, right? And that's what makes it tragic, because there is more to be done. I mean, this is the thing. In life, things like this happen, and it's not predictable. And life doesn't wait for things to be neatly wrapped up or for relationships to reach the end of their course. And sometimes this does just happen. And I think the tragedy of that is translated in how this has happened, right? And so for that, I think this is a good decision. Like, I like that aspect of it. The aspect that I don't like, I also like. like. This is the thing. I'm back and forth on it. I'm not sure how I feel. And honestly, at the moment, I think I feel both. I like it and I don't like it in equal measure. And also, like I said, when you step out of it and you look at it and it's like right in the middle of the show, third season of a 6-season run, I think there is something very poignant about that. Considering everything we've got of Jimmy and a lot of his character beats have been because of Chuck, it's going to be interesting to see that 3-season journey now that we've got between now and the finale of the show, of how he fares without Chuck, and how integral as well this moment and Chuck dying is for Jimmy to become Saul. There's a lot of potential for this to make Jimmy spiral. And like I said, I could see him moving away from Saul again, right, at the end of last episode. And this puts him, to my mind, back on the path of Saul because, again, like I said, lots of potential for heartache and tragedy. So it makes sense as well. Like it you know what I mean? Like, as much as I'm saying it doesn't make sense to me in a certain sense, it does also make sense, right? Now, those are the two sides. Those are kind of how I feel on either aspect of it. There's a caveat to this conversation, which I also think is very important. And where we got Chuck arrayed to us as the audience in the latter half of season 3, he was disabled. It was established that he was disabled. I know that, he wasn't technically diagnosed with anything or whatever. It doesn't matter. I think we can kind of all agree that he was physically and mentally dealing with something that was very affecting to the way he lived his life in a way that most everyone else doesn't have to deal with. That impacted his life in very big ways. I think it's very fair to say that he was a disabled person. Now, to have him have that realization and to also have that like small arc where he was getting better and showing progress for the first time in 3 seasons, to then have him get killed off is not good representation for disabled folk. And I really don't like that. I've talked about this a lot on my channel before, various examples of this in different shows, and that's the point, right? Is that unfortunately, whether you like it or not, because there are going to be some people who hear me say that and they're going to be like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, stop for a second. Unfortunately, the reality of the situation is 8-9 times out of 10, if you see a disabled character in a TV show or a movie, forgetting anything else, because people are going to come in and contextualize it and blah 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 blah, and I get it because context is very important, and I'm usually an absolute advocate of like, look, you can't disregard the context of the situation. There are outliers to that rule because unfortunately disabled folk, like I said, 8-9 times out of 10, if they're in some form of media, they exist, and then because of that disability they die. And not only that, they take their own life, right? And when that is the prominent representation of a minority in media, it puts forth this feeling in the audience, because media is so influential, right? And it's so important to watch for that when you're making things, because not only does it have the potential to make disabled folk feel like it promotes this idea in the general audience who are able-bodied that if that were to ever happen to you, your life is over, which is a harmful message and not true. I mean, step outside of your preconceptions of this idea and whether you agree with me, disagree with me or not, right? But when we push forth this idea in our heads, because this is the thing, any one of us able-bodied folk could become disabled tomorrow for something that we can't foresee. It's not healthy that something out of our control is promoted in our minds through our media as something that means your life is over, because if that were to ever happen to you, that's how you'd feel. Because this is the thing, if something like this happens individually and it's one time, fine. The problem with this sort of thing is that it's most times. And people are going to come in probably and they're going to comment and they're going to be like, look, yeah, but Tyler, it makes sense because of this. Doesn't matter. Because once more we have a disabled person in a place of vulnerability, and it was just revealed 4 episodes before. And so quickly it was almost like this thing of the writers didn't quite know what to do with him, right? And so it's not great to see, honestly. And for that reason, that's bad writing. And by the way, I'm not saying that they shouldn't have done that either. It would have been maybe problematic. I probably would have brought it up later on if it had happened later on as well, but I wouldn't have gone into it in so much detail, stopped for so long and talked about it for so long. I would have just mentioned it, moved on. But I think part of the issue is that in a 4 episode span, I think it was, I know it's been happening for, the entire show so far, but it is important that it was established as, okay, this is what it is. So he is a disabled person. We know what it is. And 4 episodes later, very short amount of time, this happens. And I think this is important too. And I mention this because we have the contrast of Walt Jr. in Breaking Bad, and I think Walt Jr. was handled really, really well. And I think part of the reason for that was, or a large part of the reason for that was, because they hired a disabled actor to play that role. I'm digressing a little bit, so bear with me, but it's so important to hire disabled actors in these kinds of roles because they catch this stuff. They have that lived experience. Because they had a disabled actor in Breaking Bad for that role, you didn't have an able-bodied actor, having to learn how to be disabled. disabled. And so often when that happens, it's not representative and they miss things or they do things that someone with that condition wouldn't do. I think something that was so great was that with Walt Jr., you don't have those issues. And sorry, but as much as you think someone might be an amazing actor, and that might not necessarily be untrue, they are not the best actor for that role if they are not disabled. Am I saying that, you know, Chuck's actor should be disabled? Not even necessarily. I just think maybe that question would have been asked by somebody who was disabled themselves at that moment when they read the script, being like, look, I get that you have a vision. I'm just letting you know. Anyway, I've waffled on about it a lot, so I'm going to kind of wrap it up here. That's not me, by the way, putting it on Chuck's actor or anything like that. I just feel like there were decisions made here that could have been either avoided or made better. The amount of time between chicanery and the finale of last season exacerbated this issue in my head. And, you know, look, there might be disabled folk in my comments being like, hey, I didn't find it to be an issue. And that's fair. Good. I'm happy, genuinely. Truthfully, I mentioned this because I missed it. I wouldn't have caught it myself because I'm an able-bodied person. My partner is disabled. They use a wheelchair and they mentioned it to me and was like, didn't make me feel great. And again, I'm watching something and suddenly, boom, that happened again. So what I would end on is that, you know, if you are disabled and you had no issue with it, great, genuinely good. I don't want people to feel bad because of this. All I'm saying is that some people probably will. And it's something that we promote really heavily in our media, and it's something we could be a lot better with. Like I say, it's a caveat to the whole thing, a really important caveat. I'm mixed generally on the decision, but yeah, we'll see. Also, we might get more later on in the show that adds to my opinion on it of like, okay, we wouldn't have got this moment if that hadn't happened, and this moment is worth it, right? This is what they were building towards maybe, or this is what we, you know, so we'll see as we go on. My opinion might change a little bit more, might refine a little bit more, but that's how I feel about it right now. So yeah. Ain't it good to be back? What has it been? I don't know. It's been like 20 minutes. I've spoken about it for like 20 minutes. I don't know what I'll cut it down to, but yeah. You asked for it, man.
Did you see the backyard? His stereo, his lights, everything electric is back there.
Yeah, I think Jimmy's going to put it together, right?
He did that.
Yeah.
I saw him 5 days ago. He was listening to jazz.
Yeah, startling from Jimmy's perspective.
Something must have happened.
Oh, he's going to blame Howard. He's going to find that out eventually.
Something made him relapse.
Yeah, and he's going to put that on Howard's shoulder. That's going to be a little bit of a rub between them going forward, isn't it?
So is it, huh?
Yeah.
Or is he done? Resigned?
Take it easy.
Good.
The boss says he's gonna want the windbreaker.
Seriously? Let him have it.
Of course he does.
Yeah. Kind of a reset for everybody, or so it would seem, huh? Mike going into this new life where he's got money, can take care of who he wants to, and he's happier. And we know where he goes too. It's interesting, isn't it? We have this halfway point of the show where everything's felt like it was resetting for the better, right? Everyone's going forward, happier. Jimmy's already felt the reverse of that. I wonder how long it's going to be until Mike does too.
I make my own hours.
Must be nice.
Don't ask questions, mate. So yeah, he's with Gus now then, right? That is decent, mate. It's less than it should be.
Las Cruces for Madrigal Intramodal.
Right, what's the issue, dude? Maybe just dissatisfied. He needs to make sure it's all holed up, right? And he's safe. He's got this now, it's good, and he wants to keep it.
Wanted to get Chuck's obituary into the paper, but I'd really like to run it by you.
That's nice, mate. Well done.
Over the course of 23 years, the two men built what became known as Hamlin McGill into a nationally recognized firm.
Yeah, Howard's going through it too. You can see it. That pride. Also, that standing up, turning away. He's memorized it, which I think it shows you subtly that emotional pain from Howard's side. Even if you can't, you saw the tears in his eyes right there, the emotion, but also the fact that he's memorized that shows that it's from the heart. It wasn't something he just wrote down for the sake of it. It was in him already, and he wrote it down, and so he knows it. That small little thing where it gets up, says that bit away from reading it, just shows you that Howard also, that relationship that we've seen between the two of them that is so deep, mentor-student relationship, right?
Over the course of 23 years, the two men built what became known as Hamlin McGill into a nationally recognized firm.
Right. That line as well is almost like I feel like Howard's got to feel very guilty, for sure. How it went at the end of last season and what happened with the breakup. That was messy. It's not what Howard wanted, we know that. And for this to happen now, like, it's not just Jimmy that has unresolved issues. Howard's got unresolved issues with Chuck as well. Their relationship broke apart, it was very warm, very friendly, and it split in a way that was bad, in a way that meant that Howard pushed him out of the firm that Chuck helped create. And so I think that line there of Howard's dad and Chuck, it's almost like he's giving that to Chuck. It's like, it's this admission of like, yeah, you did build it with my dad. contrasted with that conversation where Howard was I think rightly at the time and I think still deserves, talking about, you know, the firm getting built and what it is today, and Howard taking a slice of that, right? And the accolade for that. And I think he deserves it. But I think because of that conversation and obviously this happening now, I think that line there is so beautiful. And it's almost like a gift to Howard being like, yeah, you did, Chuck. And I'm so sorry for how it all went. And I'm sorry for what I said. Do you know what I mean? That I think that all of that to me is in that line and reflects Howard's pain. Yeah, it's still rough. As much as Jimmy's hurting, their relationship was their relationship, and Chuck said what he said to Jimmy, and it's got to be hard to hear somebody, and you know, that's what an obituary's for. It's got to be hard to hear all these good things about this person that, at least to Jimmy's mind, hated him at the end. Fair. There it is. It's going to be interesting to see where Jimmy goes now. We saw him at the beginning of the episode, right? He started his morning, got his coffee, ready to go, looking for jobs, circling in the newspaper. I don't think that's where he's going to go now. I don't know where he's going to go. That's what I mean. I'm interested to see how this changes that. Yeah, thinking. Can't rest. Oh, God, I forgot about Hector.
Thanks. We're headed up.
Oh, we're going to get a conversation between Gus and Nacho. I hope so.
Juan Bolsa wants to see you.
Okay. Whew, boy, don't you click at me, son. Sorry, I'll be honest with you. My time as a waiter, I got so angry if anyone clicked at me. I would go up to him and be like, excuse me, don't ever do that. Sorry, I got flashbacks, man.
Ser compadre, Tuco. Buena onda.
But it's a bit better than okay. Come on, pick him up.
El territorio de Salamanca se queda el territorio de Salamanca.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? It subtly shows the way they run themselves in the cartel. Everything stays the same. It's still Salamanca territory. Otherwise, you'd have everyone trying to take out the boss to replace them. Kind of stops power plays.
Si hacen esto correctamente, las cosas podrían ir muy bien para ustedes.
Beautiful.
Alguien se moverá contra los Salamancas. Lo que trae la guerra.
Right.
Lo que trae la DEA.
Oh, I wonder. I really hope we see Hank, you know. It's kind of setting him up. I'd say he got away with it, but Gus is a potential issue with that. Thing is, Gus, I think, would just use him. You know, he'd be more likely to utilize him. Yeah. There we are. Which I think presents a bit of an issue for Nacho, because that's the thing. I'm like, yeah, just run with it, mate. Just, you know, do well and get a promotion from Bolsa and everything. There we go. Okay. But I think Nacho wants out. We've seen that he wants out. And unfortunately, I think this means that Gus is going to keep him in.
It's busted again.
You want me to do it or you want to try it yourself? This is the last time, so watch.
Oh, good on him.
That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dad.
Good on him. On his way to work. I mean, okay. That was definitely a prop bike. I mean, it's a bike, but like they cleaned that chain up, mate, because sorry. Your hands are coming away from that with like full of oil. Dude, you need to go wash your hands. Stop it. There was nothing on there. I saw because I was looking. Oh, damn. You are late for work, buddy. That's what I mean. You got to go back in, wash your hands. Do you know what I mean? And he still stopped and did it. Good on him. Good dad.
Could you let Mr. Eglin know I'm going to be late this morning?
Oh, dear. Is this a butterfly effect moment, maybe?
Oh, I know.
Oh, dear. What have you lost, mate?
Practically brand new.
Right. So you've been sabotaged, maybe? Hello. Oh, okay. Right. Yeah. Sorry. I should have seen that coming. Is he going to go in and find something and be like, look, your security's weak. Shore it up. Hey, at the end of the day, this is what his job is. I mean, it's not technically, but like, you know, he's going to be thanked for this, maybe?
Martial arts is life and death.
Look, I don't care how fast.
Bruce Lee, he knows the anatomy. He's got the moves. He's going to find an opening.
The way he just effortlessly blends in.
Does Bruce Lee have a gun? Because if he doesn't, it's Ali in 3 minutes or less.
Making friends.
Did you sign Tina's birthday card?
Beautiful. Infiltration, mate. Did he just stop at 69? Nice. Yeah, I feel like he's going to look for something and be like, look, if I found it, someone else can. I mean, at the end of the day, he's already in, right? He's already infiltrated. He's in their warehouse. No one's questioning him at all. Right. Going through the trash. Things not shredded.
May I ask why none of you guys are wearing a lift belt?
I also like, by the way, I mean, he's done his work, he's very good, right? But he chose the bald guy for the ID tag. So if anyone glances, it's like, yeah, that checks out. Just a little detail, but it just shows how good he is at this. Beautiful.
I think this belongs to you. I waltzed through security with someone else's ID.
Yeah, here we are.
I find access doors left unlocked or propped open, passwords written on Post-it notes. Warehouse workers are using pen and paper instead of electronic inventory devices, which leaves you wide open to pilfer. Surveillance camera blind spots on the north and east side of the floor.
Inventory documents that are going into the trash instead of being shredded.
Yeah, I caught that. You saw it.
Who are you exactly?
Yeah, fair.
Maybe you best call corporate.
I thought so, right? This has got to be airtight. And I mean, we know from Breaking Bad it still wasn't, right? Eventually. But he's doing his best to shore it up.
Truly sorry, Jimmy.
Nice.
He was a hell of a lawyer.
Oh, good on you, mate. This is the thing, there's a few things going on, really, isn't there, in Jimmy, I guess, at this point, emotionally. I mean, you could look at it, I guess, from two big angles, two general angles. One, he's probably got the thing in his mind. Oh, by the way, sorry, just look at this. The colours here, the red, blue, and the yellow, it's the logo. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, because on the one hand, I feel like it's the aspect of, I had unresolved things with my brother. I didn't want us to leave it on that. I have so much left to say, so much left to do. There's so much more. And this is the thing, isn't it, right? This is what I was talking about and why I didn't like it almost. But again, like I say, maybe that is the point, and I'm kind of running with that idea a little bit. So you've got that, and so it's that unresolvedness of it, which is bad, and it's going to make him feel bad. And, you know, this is obviously skating over the obvious of, like, you know, he's just lost his brother, he's not doing okay. But you've got that kind of whirling inside him and not making him feel great. At the same time, there's maybe an element inside him, like I said, the second one, of, as awful as it might sound, I'm free from my brother. You know, this thing that was almost weighing him down in the way that we've seen, of this burden on his soul. This thing that, you know, he wanted a relationship with his brother, which he never really got, not in the way he wanted, right? When it all came out that Chuck was doing what he was doing, they never found kinship again, really, which is what Jimmy wanted. Never got that, and that gave him a lot of pain, a lot of heartache. And as much as he was angry, there was upset at that as well. And so there's an element of that doesn't exist anymore, it's gone. I'm free from that. As awful as that sounds and is, right? We're human, we're going to feel things. I don't think Jimmy's got a choice in feeling that, but I think that's probably an element of what he is feeling. And so it's like, it's on the flip side, one of the things is bad and is going to, you know, give him pain, obviously. And on the other side, there's maybe a little bit of a silver lining of, okay, I'm free from that now. You know, this toxic relationship that afforded Jimmy a lot of pain and hampered his life in a great way as well. This is, yeah, okay, I just saw Howard's face. I owe you the truth. Okay, sorry, I was just trying to pause before I said, but yeah, absolutely. I think Howard feels responsible. There's an argument to be made that kind of is. I think that's harsh, but I get where he's coming from. I mean, it's not his fault. It was many factors, I think, at play. But yeah, he's got to be feeling distraught and responsible.
He knew how to use those lanterns.
Yeah, he's put it together too.
I know it's a terrible thing to...
No, I think you're on the same page. Jimmy thinks so too.
I don't think what happened was an accident.
These two men could bond over this. I just don't think they're going to.
You probably heard Chuck was retiring from HHM.
Good on Howard for being honest about it.
And I pushed him out. The bar hearing had nothing to do with it.
This is the thing, this is the thing. That's why I said it's harsh, because Howard's not responsible. He acted in the moment in a fair and valid way. You know, I said that and I stand by that, and he's going to beat himself up about it. And that's human, and I get that, but you shouldn't, mate.
He was improving until the thing with the insurance.
The insurance?
Oh, of course. Jimmy doesn't quite know the fruits of his labor specifically.
I got my backup.
They're both going to start blaming themselves now.
The insurance?
And I've said it before too, Jimmy is responsible for if you trace it all back to the butterfly effect of how we got here, it started with the thing that Jimmy did in the insurance company.
Chuck went ballistic. He wanted to go to war.
That's maybe going to stifle his anger actually at Howard here.
It never occurred to me that I could hurt him.
Yeah.
He always seemed so strong.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
I think he did what he did because of me.
Bless you, mate.
Well, Howard, I guess that's your cross to bear.
Ooh. Ooh. There's a resentment coming through for everything that's happened. That's harsh, considering what we know about what he did. Small note, this imagery of him feeding the fish is an everything is back to business as usual. The episode started like this, carefree, this positive foundation. Jimmy was in a place of positivity with this fresh start to look forward to, and the news of Chuck threw a spanner into the workings of that fresh beginning. This here is an inherently selfish reaction because he happily returns to this state of mind, this place of everything is fine. Now it's like Chuck never died, place where Jimmy can ignore his simmering emotions and be happy again. Return to this place of safety he was in at the start of the episode. Maybe he sees that. This is the thing. He would have felt good. Look at this smile. he would have felt guilty, I think, about the insurance thing. But I mean, you know, considering what I was talking about at the funeral a minute ago and what must be, I guess, naturally going on inside Jimmy, right? I think to a certain extent, he was probably looking for an out, an easy out to know how to feel about it. Because it's like, knowing what we know about Jimmy and Chuck's relationship, I think it's fair for Jimmy to be not sure how he feels about this. Considering what I was talking about and the things that must be going on, and almost like this is a weight off his shoulders. Again, as awful as that sounds, it is also obviously very tragic. And I imagine both of those things must have been going on inside Jimmy. He wouldn't know how to feel, very confused. And I think this gives him an out emotionally, right? It's like, okay, now I know how to feel. Howard has just given me on a platter, delivered to my lap, this thing of, okay, that's what it was. Yeah, okay, Howard, that's your cross to bear. Oh, I'm off scot-free. Good. Oh, it wasn't me. Awesome. Now I know how to feel. It wasn't me. Chuck's dead. Move forward, you know? Look, these emotions aren't just going to go away. I think this is maybe happiness in this moment because of that. But as much as I'm talking about all this, that despair and sadness is going to be there, and it's going to rear its head. It's going to come through, I think, at some point. And we saw that look on Kim's face as well when he said that that's your cross to bear. It was confusing to her because obviously she's not really thinking about it in the way that I'm thinking about it. Yeah, it's like, whoa, what are you saying? What are you saying, dude? Why are you saying that? Lacking in a lot of empathy, though, for Howard there.
Look at her go.
Yeah, relief. I think that is.
So I'm gonna make some coffee. Maybe want some?
Oh, please, yeah, absolutely. Oh, Howard, bless him. Someone give this man a hug. Look at that. Yeah, the relief, the easing, this weight off his shoulders. I get it. I completely get it. It's not fair. That's not a fair response from Jimmy in regard to Howard. I think that's really harsh towards Howard. But in its own way, that's valid. It's a valid response from Jimmy because we know, right? We have all this context of why Jimmy is where he is, what he's feeling emotionally, what he's been through. And considering all of that, like I say, I think it would be fair for any human in Jimmy's position, considering what's happened and what happened in the finale of season 3 as well, and what Chuck said to him. Because let's not forget, no one else knows what Chuck said to him. Only Jimmy really knows. I doubt he's really even spoken to Kim at this point about that conversation and what Chuck said to him. Considering all that, and then this happens, like we're hardwired to think and feel sad, and that we shouldn't talk ill about the dead, feel ill about the dead. You know, so there's that going on as well. But considering all of the other stuff, it's like, how do you feel? How do you feel? I think it's completely valid for Jimmy not to know how he feels and to be conflicted. Even though he's, Chuck's died, that doesn't mean that all of the other stuff goes away. And like I say, I think it's completely valid that there's a certain part of Jimmy that feels relieved. I don't think it's a considered response. I don't think it's, like I say, I don't think it's an empathetic response, especially towards Howard. But I get it. I totally get it. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. That was episode 1, Smoke, of season 4. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed and you're not already, subscribe down below, tick that notification button, and you will be getting more Better Call Saul thrown your way. Thank you, as always, genuinely, to those that support me. I've got YouTube memberships and Patreon links in the description down below. There's early access and some other stuff down there. Hey, have a look if you're interested. If not, no worries. That's it from me. Click on this video right here to keep the good times rolling. And other than that, I'll see you soon.